Hi, welcome to the channel. My name's Pete, and on this series we are covering the Driffield to Selby Railway. We are almost there now. We are at Cliffe Common Railway Station. We covered this in the last episode and the route to it, and if you haven't seen that, please go back and watch it. This episode we are going to be going all the way through to Osgdby Bridge, which is near Selby Junction, which I will tell you about the railway line as we approach there. I will show you what remains of it, but there is actually a really special feature which will be the episode after this one, because this railway line was important not just for passengers and freight but also for the military. So what you can see behind me is known as the malt kiln. Big production when it was in its heyday, and it had its own private siding. I've been round the back, there's no trace of it, it's all been modified and some of the land has even been built on. What you can see behind me is, or some of it is, Moor Lane Crossing Keeper's cottage. It's been altered extensively, but I'm going to turn the camera around. I'm going to show you where the track bed is because we can't access it, it's all farmland. So this hedge line is the track which goes all the way back to our railway station at Cliffe Common. This was a level crossing. Unusually there is no humps in the road to mark where it was, but what we do know is the line was on the east side of the cottage. This is the original part of the cottage with the distinctive arches over the windows, round the chimney, and the line would have gone partly where that is on the corner, but right through where these extension buildings are. As you can see, it's altered substantially since it was first built, but what we can do is we can follow where the line went by looking at the hedgerow, because a lot of this part now is inaccessible. It's farmland or all privately owned and we can't get access to it, and it doesn't really matter because there's nothing to see anyway. Again, looking back, we're following this hedgerow. It will have crossed the Crossing Keeper's cottage there on the east side. This was not built, and it's roughly where that hedge line is. Those buildings there, and we can see another building in the distance there, which is Clare Lane, which is where we will go next. After leaving Moor Lane, we are now at Clare Lane, and we've met the owners at the Crossing Keeper's cottage here. Wonderful people. They've got some relics to show us. I'm going to turn the camera around and I'll show you what there is. So what we have down here is some chairs from the railway still remaining here, and then we've got the more modern type there which the loops would be going through. There's also a piece of linkage, possibly from a goods wagon. Uncertain, but what we would like some help with is this. It's heavy, it could easily be £10. It's got 10 on it and it's got a chain. It's for a signal wire, I think. Can anyone confirm, is this for signals? Is this a counterbalance for gates? Please drop that in the comments. But wait till you see what this is here. This is off a local gate which I'm going to show you shortly. Penalty for neglect, £2. How amazing is that? So we're very fortunate enough to be at Clare Lane Crossing Keeper's cottage, and the owners has invited us onto the land and showed us those relics, what they've got from this property and just found lying around. Now the Crossing Keeper's cottage does have an extension on it which is done extremely sympathetically, but I'll turn the camera around and I'll show you what I can see. This is the Crossing Keeper's cottage. We've got the distinctive archways again inside the chimneys designed by Mr. Andrews. That is the original part here. up to what you can see there. There is a lovely extension on at the side which is almost matching the rest of the building. Now I'm stood where the line came through. I've been told there are some gate posts over there still, so we'll go look at those in a minute. Right through here, going down there, and we will have another gatekeeper's cottage to visit. But before we get there, there are some gate posts down there to be looking at, and we've got the gate posts here for the crossing of Clare Lane. We have now come out onto where the track crossed Clare Lane. It's called Clare Lane because around here behind me it was all clay mines or clay quarries. But this lane hasn't really changed much at all since the railway was here. When tarmac came about, they didn't tarmac all the roads, and this is one of those roads. Our first post, sadly, has been knocked down, but it's got the hangers on there, and you can see how big these are, how far they would go underground. But our other one, where the catch is, remains in situ, and it's in remarkable condition. Look at this, it's even got this little ring on there still, and when we go to the back of it, it's got this huge thick metal plate on the back. Now that before we leave, they did tell us they might have some original pots off the top of the chimneys at the front of the house, so we'll have a quick look at those. But I'm just going to go back down. Their garage is built on the line, and you can see through there that distinctive arch. That is our next crossing, which we'll be heading to shortly, and that is on Lund Lane. So just before we leave, it's worth pointing out that the black on the bricks is still soot from when the steam trains used to come through. There are some original outbuildings here as well. There's two there, and there'd have been a further two here. And it turns out that the chimney pots are here. So if you ever wanted to know what they look like, that is what they look like. That is Clare Lane crossing Keeper's Cottage, and the railway came to the right of that cottage down here. Now what you can see here is the remains of the embankment, because this was a slight embankment, and that is all that remains. That is Lund Lane crossing, which we'll be coming to shortly. But what I do want to show you is an old farmer's crossing. We can see it's still raised is the land, and there's still an embankment which has now been taken away for that garden there. But look at this, we've got a wooden gate post with the rounded top. That's a very early one, is this, and we've still got the gate hanger at the bottom. Look, it's been broken, bent, and next to that we've got a wire tensioner still with some ironwork on it. How do I know that that is a farmer's crossing? Well, we've got the opposite ones here. These are slightly more modern. These are concrete ones. We've got this one here, and then the other one over there. This side has the hangers on it at the top and at the bottom down there, and this has got the catch on it, and again it's got a slope up to it, a ramp, because the land around here is quite low. This would have been quite high to go along with the embankment, but look how narrow it is. This is why we're only seeing one gate post at many places, because you'd never get a tractor through there, not a modern tractor. When this was built and that was put up, horse and cart, that's all that had to go through there. Next we're going to get to Lund Lane crossing, which is here. It's been heavily modified. So here we are at the other crossing keeper's cottage. Not a lot to see with this one. There's one half of the building there, and then this here, which is very strange. It just looks odd, does this building, because it's been separated to two, and then the door at the side has been added here, so it looks a little bit odd. But this is a crossing at Lund. This is the actual level crossing here. I don't think anything remains of any gate posts. We couldn't see any. We have had a quick look around. That is all completely modern fencing behind the ivy. This is our railway. Now we've got access to all this, so we're going to walk down there because it is a public footpath, and we'll show you anything else that remains all the way to Osgdby Bridge. So after 3 consecutive crossing keepers cottages, now remember those were divided into 2, so that there'd been one family or crossing keeper on one side and same at the other. We're now on what remains of the railway line. We're actually on the track bed. This is the Osgdby and Barbury Nature Walk, and this should take us down to Osgdby Bridge. We're not hopeful of seeing anything down here because this is a public footpath now, so anything that remains may have disappeared, but if we find anything we'll show you, and you know that we're going to go into hedge bottoms for you as well. Let's see what we can find. It doesn't take long, but it's not much, and we found something. We're now on a slight embankment for the main reason because it's very wet round here and prone to flooding, but I'll show you what I've seen. Just down in here, a railway fence post at the bottom of the embankment. I would have said this is about 10 feet tall where we are, something like that at that side, and probably around 5 feet at this side. But we'll continue on and we'll see if we can find anything else on our way down. This is now all straight all the way through to Barbury Junction, but we've got a bridge to find first. Found a little bit more of a signal pulley post. Impressive. We'll go down into the hedge as per usual. It's in poor condition. We're not going to be able to read any dates off there, but there you go, look, it's a single one. So where there's one, there might be more, or that could be the end. The last farmer's crossing we saw was really quite remarkable because we could see the embankment and we could see the width of how wide they used to be. But we've got one here as well. I've had to come into hedge bottom to show you, but I'll turn the camera around, I'll show you what I've got. And it's this one here. This has got the hanger on at the top. I can't see the one at the bottom, it's most likely buried. There is no corresponding one at that side, and there is no corresponding one at this side here, but we'll go over to the other side of the railway track because I'll show you what there is. It is just through there, so there must be one on the opposite side, and there is. Here we go. This is our way through by the looks of things. Probably not very easy, but we've got the post there, and then we've actually got a gate hung on it still. There is no corresponding post here though, unfortunately. Maybe that was a wooden one that's been rotted away, and could that be it left on the floor there? We'll continue down the line. Not too far away from our farmer's gate, we've got a drainage dike, what you can probably see behind me up there, and we have got a gully. It's in really poor condition, but I will show you it. Just down there, as you can see, it's virtually all collapsed away at this side. We've got no fascia bricks remaining, no coping, no wings, no nothing. There will be one at the other side, but that one is literally inaccessible, so we'll have to continue down the line. When I said inaccessible, it was a long way to come round to it. I couldn't just cut straight across, but I have done. I'll show you it. There you go, it's just like an overgrown hole at this side. I mean, it's still very picturesque, but not a lot to see, unfortunately. We'll crack on. So that's where we've just come from. There's another public footpath here, crossing the railway. This is no doubt here during the time of the railway operation, and that's why we've got a crossing post here. May have also been farmers' access, but definitely for a public footpath. It's the only one we can see. But what we have got here is this big wooden post, almost rotten and fallen over, where it could well have held a sign. Now this has got holes in it for chairs, so it's very likely a sleeper. Could have had a sign up there saying railway property, no trespassing. On the other side there is no trace of any posts. So we're going to jump back on the line and see what else we can spot. So I've reached Hull Road, and right in front of me is where Osgdby Bridge once stood, which was here. This is the track bed, and that's where the bridge was. It was a humpback bridge. It had, I say humpback bridge, it had a gradual rise over, but this has taken us also into a cutting at about 4 foot deep now. This has been demolished for modifying the road, but also for danger, because it is on a slight bend. Now the people at the railway crossing told us this was knocked down because it was dangerous. There's been many a car come down into this into this ditch onto the railway line due to the nature of the shape of the road being on a bend, with it being a hump and people speeding. So that is where the bridge was. I've taken loads of photographs. I'm going to put those up at the end, with the site of the former Osgdby Road Bridge going over the Driffield and Selby railway line. I'm going to end the episode. Please buy me a coffee. Me and Steve have spent over a year producing this series. A link down in the description below, and believe me, it will be spent on a coffee for me and Steve. Please take care. Subscribe to the channel, because the next episode we're going to be picking up over that bridge, and there are some spectacular sights. There is something really quite special coming up in a future episode that you don't want to miss. Please take care, and I'll see you in the next episode.